Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about all operations of negative numbers. That includes adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. And I know all of you have already had lessons in elementary school in regards to negative numbers. And so none of this will be new to you, but I know that it's still a huge struggle for a lot of you. It's still a struggle for high school kids and adults also. So you're not alone if you feel frustrated with negative numbers. So I'm going to begin by showing you some tips and tricks to doing operation of multiplication and the operation of division. And then from there, we'll go to adding and subtracting. So there's three little pictures I'm going to show you. These are great strategies to use, and you'll find them on the notes page that I gave you. If you look down at your screen here, you have a tic-tac-toe board, you have a circle, and you have a triangle. Now, you don't need to use all three of these. They all do the same exact thing, but I'm going to show you how they work and how they relate to multiplying and dividing with negative numbers. Now, for the tic-tac-toe board, I'm going to do like I've got three in a row, plus, plus, plus. I just won the game. And I'm going to fill in the others with negatives. Now, it doesn't matter which direction you read this tic tac toe. You could read it vertically, you could read it horizontally, you could read it diagonally. It doesn't matter, it will still work. So, when dealing with multiplication or division, if the two numbers I am multiplying or the two numbers that I am dividing, if they're both positive, as you can see right here, this is positive, the answer is positive. And you know that. You do that all the time without thinking. But if they're both negative, this is negative and this is negative, then my answer will be positive. And it doesn't matter which direction you go, when you see two negatives, the following box is a positive. Now, if I have a positive and a negative number that I'm multiplying or dividing, then the answer is going to be negative. As you can see here, I have a positive and a negative, the answer is negative. Here I have a positive and a negative if I'm going this direction, and the answer is negative. So if the signs are the same, then the answer is positive. If the signs are different, the answer will be negative. If I can also do it with this. This is like a peace sign. And so I can put a negative, negative, and a positive here. And again, it doesn't matter if the numbers are both negative, my answer will be positive. If I have a positive number and a negative number, my answer will be negative. So it doesn't matter which direction you go, it works. Same with this triangle. I can have a negative, negative, positive, and I can just look at the different angles of this triangle to determine if my two numbers are both negative, my answer will be positive. If my numbers are positive and negative, then my answer is going to be negative. So those are methods that you can use in regards to um, multiplying and dividing with negative numbers. Now I'm going to erase most of this and we're going to talk about adding and subtracting with negative numbers. So there's another little cool little thing. You're going to see it on your notes page. I'll write it right here, I guess. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna not do it like that. It's called the SADS method. SADS. Or you can actually just think of it as the word SADS. All right. And if you can remember SADS, SA means if the numbers are the same, that is, they're both positive or they're both negative, then you're going to add them. If the numbers are different, D for different, then you're going to subtract them. So whenever you see addition or subtraction with negative numbers, then this, if you can remember SADS, it's going to be super helpful. So let me give you some examples. I've got negative 3 plus 5. I have negative 3 minus 5. I have 3 minus 5. And I have 3 plus 5. So some of these are pretty obvious to you. The very last one looks like something you did in kindergarten. The signs are the same. In fact, I'm going to box them in so you can see them. So I'm just going to add them, and my answer is a positive 8. Going back up to the top, again, I want you to just notice my strategy of boxing things in. You can see that my signs are different. I have a negative and a positive, so I'm going to subtract. I'm not going to subtract 3 minus 5. I'm just going to ignore the signs, and I'm going to say 5 minus 3 is, and the answer is 2. Then I'm going to look back at my numbers, and I'm going to say, do I have more positives or do I have more negatives? So if I look at more 5, I have 5 positives and 3 negatives. So I have a positive 2 because the positives, if I wrote this out, and the negatives, you can see I have more positives and negatives. And so the positives and negatives, when you're adding and subtracting, they cancel each other out. The next one, if I box it in, you can see that I have all negatives. So altogether, it's kind of like saying I have 3 negatives in this hand and 5 negatives in this hand. That's 8 negatives altogether. And then finally, the last one, I have 3 positives and 5 negatives. So the signs are different. So I'm going to subtract them. 5 minus 3 is 2. But in this situation, I have more negatives than I have positives. Now, the part that, the last part I'm going to do is when we have extra symbols in there. Okay, it can get pretty confusing. So I'm going to show you what I refer to as cleaning up or simplifying the equation before you get going. So what if I had 3 minus a negative 2? You can see I have two signs together in the middle of this problem. This is when I can go back to this triangle method right here. Because before I do anything, I'm just going to go ahead and clean this up and make it easier to read. So if I look here, a negative and a negative would make that a positive. So this becomes 3 plus 2, and you're back in kindergarten. 3 plus 2 is 5. If I had something like 3 plus a negative 2, if I look at those numbers, again, I can go back to my triangle, and I have here a positive and a negative. A positive and a negative make a negative. So this becomes 3 minus 2. I'm back in kindergarten. The answer is 1. I hope you found this video helpful. Feel free to refer back to it or make sure that you use your notes as you're going through your assignment, and good luck. I know you can do it.